Hello and welcome to this new episode of the GameDevBros podcast. I am joined, like always, by my brother and co-host Ben BB.
Hello, hello.
All right, so let's start with the news. Do we have anything important to say?
Not much. We're still looking for jobs, both of us, and I think I'm getting close to something, but nothing, nothing done yet. So nothing signed yet.
Yeah. So other than that, we've well, there's not much to say, mostly because we are recording these videos pretty close together.
Yeah.
And I guess I could also say that I have been like pre-recording a lot of videos for YouTube as well, like just because we're gonna go on holiday, so just like keep posting videos. So that's, I guess, basically the news.
Yeah, that's it.
So let's start with what game are we gonna play today?
So yeah, I'm playing Islanders. So it is a small indie game, a strategy game, very very chill game, in which you just place buildings. Nothing happens between you placing buildings. Like there's no like NPCs or workers or anything like that. There's no fighting. It's just you building a city, and you have to reach a number of points to unlock next buildings, and that's it. It's really chill. You should check it out. I think it's
very pleasing, like the aesthetic as well. I do enjoy the aesthetic of the game.
Yeah, and the music is very chill. Yeah, and I think it's quite cheap on Steam. And I actually follow the guy that made it. I mean, it's a team that made it. It was a university project, I believe. But one of the guys, Jonas, a German game developer now, was a student back then. He actually has a YouTube channel talking about game devs and him developing his new game he's making right now, which is a platformer. Check him out if you are interested. Yeah, and what about you?
Well, I'll be playing a somewhat not renowned. What is the opposite of renowned? Well, I guess like no, as in like it's known but not for its good reasons.
Infamous,
yeah. It's an infamous game, Godus. I actually really like the game, but like the team behind it did some bad things. I guess it was one of those. It is one of those like completely failed early access projects, in the sense that the game started in early access and just never finished, and it is now like known that it's just never gonna finish. It's just not gonna actually change. Yeah, but I still really like the game, and what the game is so I guess you can see on my video, but the game is like a map completely layered and with different layers, and your main mechanic, you're a god, I guess, and your main mechanic is to shape these layers in order to create flat ground for like the people that you're making, so that they can like create houses and so on, and that's how you kind of progress like the society, and you gain new technologies, and slowly the society progresses. And I really like the game. I think it's very chill. The art style is very chill, and I overall really like it. It's sad that it never finished, and it's sad that it's never gonna finish. But the game itself is still pretty good.
How much does it cost? Do you know? Is it like
I
very
have
expensive?
no idea. It might not even be on Steam anymore. Honestly.
Seriously?
I'm not even sure, because it really had like some weird stuff happening with it. So I'm not even sure. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know if I could recommend it. I like it, but because it's not finished, there's still a bunch of hours to it. But anyways, let's. I like it, and I'll be playing it. That's basically it.
Okay.
All right.
So let's.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's move on to the topic, right?
Yeah,
which is monetization in games.
Which is a pretty big topic.
Yeah, it's a pretty big topic, and there's a lot of debate. So we will give our opinions. It's gonna be subjective, of course, and we'll see. So yeah, I mean, first thing we wanna get out of the way is how monetization we think should be managed for single-player games, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Well, I think the main idea is simply that if it's a single-player game, it shouldn't have extra costs, right? So you pay for the game and you get the game.
Yeah.
And
I mean, with the exception of DLC.
And with the exception, of course, of DLCs, which could, add content in general, which in that case would be acceptable.
Yeah, and it should be like sizable content, like a huge part of the story, like many hours
Yeah,
of enjoyment, let's say. And yeah, I mean, there's the funny meme about the horse armor in Oblivion, right?
yeah.
Where the DLC was just like a shiny horse armor that like added nothing but a kind of a skin really to
It
the
was
game.
pretty much just a skin. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's not very good if your DLC becomes a meme. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind when you're thinking about that. But I think nobody nowadays will repeat that mistake.
It is. Yeah. I think. Which I guess takes us to because of that was like a kind of mod level DLC in terms of for the Oblivion one.
Yeah,
Which,
even less than a mod, right? It's like a low level mod because if you look at what people do,
I mean, of course,
within
yeah.
the
I mean,
modding
but it
community,
depends.
just changing a skin of one of the elements is like nothing.
Yeah. It's a very very small mod if anything, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, which take us to what they tried to do, what Bethesda tried to do with well, what they did, but it's not really working out too well with the Creation Club in Fallout 4 and Elder Scrolls Skyrim Special Edition,
Yep.
which I think is only available in Special Edition, right?
I have played Special Edition, but to be true, I have to say that I only played with 3 mods.
Yeah,
still work also.
Which is still like possible, of course. Yeah.
Like some of the mods have to be like a bit tweaked so that they can work in Special Edition, but yeah, there's still plenty of free mods. So like I didn't even check the paid mods. I don't know how you go to that and how you do.
I think it's from the menu, but I think they're only available for the Special Edition. Yeah.
Okay. I've got no clue. But yeah, the thing is, it's a bit weird, right? Because we've checked a little bit the prices, and they seem really expensive. Like you could,
and that's
pay
the thing.
Like 25 cents for just like one weapon, right?
Yeah, I mean, I follow a YouTuber that does a lot of most of his like main content is talking about mods, reviewing mods for Skyrim and Fallout. And he of course also reviewed Creation Club mods, and for him, like the main idea always is that you're paying for something that you can get for free, and that is not even that good. Like you can get free stuff which are a lot better. Like for example, a simple example is that a lot of the times you can pay for like an armor or like a weapon mod, but then you simply download the mod and then you have the weapon in your inventory, for example, and that's it. Yeah. While you can get free mods that not only add a weapon but also add like a whole quest in order to get the weapon, which is obviously like 10 times better.
Yeah, for sure. Like especially in an RPG game when you want the story to be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what I have to say about that is that I understand, like, because we are game developers, we do understand the effort that goes into modding. Yeah, that is something that we respect a lot. And I do think the modders should get some compensation, right? I think most of them are happy to do it for free, but still, like,
I feel like most modders will start modding for free, as an idea is like I want to do it because I like it, because I find it fun, and then they'll do it. It's true
that's how they do it, but still, like,
it is true that because of the amount of work that it actually takes, it is something that you could potentially recognize with some monetization and so on. And what I wanted to say is that there is, for example, in Nexus mods, there is always the possibility of having like a donation button that you can add to your mods. So in a sense, that is fine. If you feel like the mod deserves it, then and the modder deserves it.
Yeah,
you can always do it.
I would say that probably there's not so many people that give. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any stats or anything.
I mean, I have to say that I personally have never donated.
But one thing, for example, that I would pay for sure is like mod packs, right? Because I've played Skyrim.
Yeah, we talked. That's true. We talked about this like a while ago.
Yeah. And in Skyrim, you end up having 30 mods, 50 mods, a lot of mods, right? And there's problems with compatibility and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And The way I would run it, for example, would be with only lore-friendly, non-immersion breaking mods. Like I would add mods that improve the water, improve the sounds, add more dialogues, things of that nature, right? But in the end, it starts piling up. You have a lot of mods, and then bugs start appearing, right? If I could pay like €1 or €2 to get a pack of like 30 mods that I know they are compatible, I will have no problem with one click. I install all of them.
Yeah.
I would do for sure, right? Even if I can get them for free and I can do the same work for free, in the sense that I can get the same mods, but I have to actually install them one by one and put the correct load order and everything. But if I can do that for free and just pay €1 or €2 and have they already done for me, I would pay, right?
Yeah.
So I think the way I would go about it is leave the mods for free with the donation system, but maybe add compilations of modding that are behind a paywall. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I would go for
I
something
agree
like
for sure,
that.
because it would simply reduce the amount of time. Because there's less like also like a meme with modding in Skyrim and so on, which is that you end up never playing the game, where you just spend 10 hours like just modding the game, and then once you actually manage to get it to work, you just actually don't even play it.
Yeah,
and that would simplify
very late
the whole process a lot more, and that would actually be worthwhile, I think.
Yeah, that's what I go for. Yeah, I would go for that 100%. And again, like one piece of like equipment, like one sword or something like that. That's the first thing you do when you mod Skyrim. Let's say you go to YouTube and you say how to mod Skyrim. Like maybe the first tutorial is gonna be how to make a sword.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, for sure.
It should be more than that. Usually mods for Skyrim and stuff like that are like, if it's an armor thing, for example, and weapon, it's gonna add a lot of them. It's not gonna add just a sword. It's gonna add a sword, an axe, a hammer, a dagger, and then some piece of some helmets and stuff like that. And yeah, so the content should be like sizable to justify some payment, I think.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Okay. So, well, I don't think there's much more we want to tell about single player games.
Yep.
So maybe we could move on to the multiplayer ones.
Yeah, let's.
It's a bit more juicy, interesting in that topic.
For sure. So let's let you start.
Yeah. So first of all, we have one category in which we're pretty much in the same mindset, which is when you have in a multiplayer game. We're talking consoles and PC, right? Not mobile, because mobile is another beast.
Yeah, we'll talk about mobile later.
Yeah, but let's say cosmetic only microtransactions. We're both fine with that. Sometimes the it's a bit blurry, the border between that and like pay to progress and stuff like that. But yeah, let's give some examples. Let's say like.
Yep.
First of all, the benefits is like many games can be free thanks to that. So, for example, Fortnite. I think Fortnite is only cosmetics, right?
Fortnite is fully cosmetics, yes.
So you can pay to get cosmetics. You can play the game for free. I'm not sure if the single player version is also for free or if you have to pay.
I have honestly no idea.
Before it was we had to pay for the single player experience. But let's say if you only play the battle royale, which is what most people play, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you only play the battle royale, it's free. It's completely free. And I mean, there's many different cosmetic options, and for those you can actually unlock some just by playing as well, which is very nice.
Yeah.
But you can also unlock much more of them by paying. But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, with the system that the Battle Pass has as well, which I don't know what game started with the Battle Pass.
I have no clue. I think I saw it first in not in Overwatch, in Fortnite.
But I don't think it was them who started it.
I have no clue, but it works well in.
I actually really like it for those type of games, because then games like Apex Legends and so on also have it. Now, I mean, not Elder Scrolls. Red Dead Redemption Online also has it, and so on. And honestly, I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things. Because like, if you play a game enough, then investing a little bit of money in it is not a bad thing, right? You've been playing a lot, especially if the game is free, because in terms of Red Dead Redemption, it's a bit different. But for Fortnite or Apex Legends, it allows you to support the developers to some extent, and also it's something that lasts a long time, and it's also something that allows you to get like rewards over time and not necessarily something instantly, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
And it also, in terms of in the developer's point of view, it's also like a way to have player play throughout the season and not just like play once kind of things. Is one of those, most of those games gain a lot just from being popular and having a lot of people playing it.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, what I wanted to say about that as well is that one thing that is pretty important to me when I look at microtransactions is the ability or not you have to then cash back those items, right? Trade and cash back, because for example, in Fortnite, you've got your new skin and all of that, and that's it, right? It's content for that game. You cannot sell it for real money.
Yeah.
And what that
that means,
means,
sorry if I interrupt you a little bit, but like that comes from the idea that a lot of people see like loot boxes and those kind of things as gambling, right?
Yeah.
Which
I think it's a very, but even if it were not loot boxes, because loot boxes have a random component to it, but yeah, I mean it's more important with loot boxes, and that's something Fortnite does not have, because I think you can know beforehand which skins you're gonna get if you.
Well, there is loot boxes as well in Fortnite now.
Okay.
They used to not have them, but now they do.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, with loot boxes, the problem I have with loot boxes, when you can get real cash with it, is that you may end up in a situation in which, I don't know, your life is not going so well and you need to pay the rent and you don't know how to do it, and maybe you may think, okay, let's put some money into loot boxes and maybe I'll get these very, very, very rare skins that I can sell for a lot of money, and that way I can pay my rent. And then what can end up happening, most probably,
most likely,
is that you're not gonna get you're just gonna lose more money, and you're already in a tight situation. Then, and that's like gambling, right? That's what gambling does. Is gambling bad or not bad? That's like something that's open for discussion. But it definitely qualifies, in my opinion, as gambling if you can get money back from your skins or your stuff in the game. But in the case of Fortnite or other games in which you cannot change, at least not in regular ways. Of course, you can always
what you're
sell
paying
your
is purely like in-game items that you cannot do.
Yeah, non-transferable towards something else. Like it's you know that money is lost on the game. Lost, it's maybe not lost for you because like it's content for your game, right? But it's not gonna affect your life in the real world, right? So that's the boundary for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. Because for example, the CS:GO thing, where you can get money, a huge
the way that Valve does it in general, because it was the same with it is still the same, I guess, with TF2 and so on.
Yeah,
it is.
It's been a while since I've played Team Fortress, so I don't know.
Yeah, but it works the same way as CS:GO basically.
Yeah,
and that's a thing also I would agree, which is a bit more gray line, or whether or not it's fine to do it that way.
Yeah.
Of course, that comes also to what you said before, which is the games are free, so then you still need the developers to make some money somehow. And in terms of Valve, they make a lot of money just by taking a percentage of those transactions inside their system.
Yeah, and also small deviation here, going back to the modding. I think with the games like Bethesda games and stuff like that, if they're gonna make mods that you have to pay for them, the whole amount should be going to the modder, because it's already doing a lot for the game, right? So the developers do not need to take a portion of it. Instead, in comparison with Valve, that does no longer make a lot of games, like they've made a small card game, but kind of like don't make games anymore. They solely function thanks to taking a percentage of microtransaction and sales on their website, on their platform. So it's normal that they would take a percentage, but like if you are a modder, you are giving your time to make a game more awesome.
A game better and more replayable and so on.
Yeah, I mean the developers of the game, I don't know if they should take a portion of that. I think it's already gonna impact
Yeah,
in a very
definitely.
good way.
Especially Bethesda games. Like a big appeal to them is the fact that you can mod it so much. That I feel like
Yeah.
I agree with you. Where without it, those games would be half of what they are or less.
Yeah, they would not sell as much,
Definitely,
and
yeah.
people would not talk about them as much. So there's also marketing involved in there.
Yep.
Um,
Which is why
so
like
yeah,
they
it was
can't even think about making a game without modding support anymore because it would be such
I mean
a loss.
the backlash would be
Yeah.
incredible.
For sure.
So I mean, yeah, going back to multiplayer games. So that's like cosmetic concept, but then you've got games like League of Legends, for example, right?
Yeah.
Which
And
is not
Hearthstone as
cosmetics
well,
only. I mean, you can play League of Legends for free, which is nice, and the developers still have to make money. And there are skins, but they are not only skins. With the money you buy, I think you can also get runes and stuff like that. I mean, it's been a while since I've played League of Legends, but back in my day, you could get runes, which would actually make you player better.
Yeah.
It would make your character better.
And
And
it was
you can
capped
also-
to some extent, so it wasn't a big deal either.
Yeah, but I mean that would be like kind of pay to progress, right? Because you could get them faster
Yeah.
if you would pay.
Fair
And
enough.
I'm most positive as well. You could have an XP boost to get to level cap faster, which is not a big
Which
deal,
it was
right?
it was
But,
very small either way, the level cap.
yeah, about 30, I believe.
I
and-
think so you
But
can
still,
still
like-
get to level 30 quite quickly, so I'm not necessarily against that idea.
Yeah, but it's still more than just cosmetics, and more importantly, you could unlock other characters. And think about League of Legends is that you always have some free characters that you can play with, and even without paying a single dollar, you're gonna
unlock
be able
them,
to unlock a few characters from time to time, right? But like yeah, I think in that game where you have to specialize in characters, if you rely only on it's a game also where the meta changes a lot. If you are
Yep,
like
for sure.
playing it a lot, you cannot rely on the three characters and only two others maybe you have bought to play the game, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of on the edge, I think.
Yeah, it's
in
borderline,
which-
maybe like not necessarily pay to win, but it's like very borderline to that.
It's pay to progress, but it's a big thing, right? But
Yeah.
on the other hand, you can say, okay, I mean, if you've spent all the hours to get to level cap and start playing semi-competitively, let's say, maybe you could afford like the €1-2 to get a few characters, right?
Yeah. If you spend so much time in that game, then you could think,
Yeah.
well, potentially I should pay something.
Yeah, so it's not. I don't think League of Legends it falls into a bad practice group or anything like that. But it's getting there, right? We already see some things that it's a bit different than only
At least,
cosmetic.
definitely we can see how some people might see it as potentially not good practice. They're a bit, especially if you have games like Dota 2, which don't have that. In the sense that they only have cosmetics because you do have all the heroes from the start.
Yeah,
And then I guess in a similar manner, maybe even worse, slightly worse, is games like Hearthstone, right?
yeah,
Which have the same idea, which you can pay to get packs, and those packs are actually cards, which to some extent could be considered pay to win, since a lot of times to get certain decks, to get some good decks, you need certain cards that you might not necessarily get, and because it's random, you might need a lot of packs in order to get all of them. And of course you can get them while playing and unlocking different decks, but different packs, but again, by being random, it's very hard to actually manage to get all of them just without paying. You would have to play a long time.
yeah. When I played Hearthstone, it really felt like if you wanted to keep up to date, you had to pay because the
Yeah.
amount of hours you had to play to get all the unlock everything was.
And
bit
I still play Hearthstone, but I only play Battlegrounds mostly for that because don't have the cards, and every time I just don't play enough to kind of keep up with the different updates that they do and so on. So I just end up not having new cards, and I just don't play it.
Yeah.
Basically.
And then also like giving an example, like one that is seen as bad practices, what happened to Star Wars Battlefront from EA, the first one. I think they fixed it afterwards, but when it launched, I mean, I played the number 2, the Star Wars Battlefront 2. I didn't play the 1, but what I've heard it was that when it launched, so you had this pay to progress. It was 100% pay to progress, and you had to, so you could unlock all the heroes and stuff. There were also cosmetics, but let's focus on the heroes part. You could unlock all the heroes by just playing, but the amount of hours required to just unlock any heroes.
Yeah, I think someone
so
made the math as well of how many hours it would take, and it was just insane.
Yeah, and it was so huge that it was like, yeah, nobody would like, unless you're really like hardcore player and the only thing you do is this, you're not gonna put in the hours.
Yeah, for sure.
And getting heroes like Jedi hero especially in that game is a huge thing, because those characters are very, very powerful on the battlefield, and they can really turn the tides of the battle. So in a sense, it's almost pay to win, right? Because if you have 0 heroes, you cannot do anything. I don't know if you had a few already unlocked from the beginning, but I'm pretty sure the tough ones like Darth Vader and stuff were behind our paywall.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of backlash about that, and actually they changed it, I think, afterwards.
I think they modified it
more accessible. And when I played Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront 2, the one from EA, I actually unlocked a lot of, I don't know if they were all unlocked from the beginning, but I remember playing with heroes, and I didn't play that many hours. I played maybe 20, 30 hours of that game. And I was not at all frustrated by any of that. So they have definitely fixed the issue for the next game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So yeah, I don't know if there's anything to say about regular multiplayer games, because the next topic is gonna be MMOs.
Yeah, well, I mean, multiplayer games is, we have a thing to make a distinction as well between games that you actually pay, because we've been talking about now Battlefront and also League of Legends, and there is a big difference between Battlefront, which is a game where you pay for €60.
Well, I got it on sale, I think. I know I got it on the Origin, like I just paid 1 month and I got.
Oh yeah, well, but still, like technically it's like a paid game. It is the big difference between a paid game and League of Legends or Apex Legends, which is very cheap, which is free.
Yeah.
So then it has nothing. It is quite different. It is maybe less acceptable to have a lot of paywalls and microtransactions in games that you're already paying for.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I have to give an exception to that, which is Overwatch. I played a lot of Overwatch when it came out. And I have to say that I did not feel that it was any bad practice what they were doing. So they were doing, the only thing you could get was skins.
Yeah, exactly. So here again, you have like the distinction between pure cosmetics and
it was pure cosmetics. So voice lines, skins, and some other stuff like badges and stuff. But the game, it was paid, right? And I paid the full price, which was maybe €60 as well, because I bought it the day one. But yeah, I mean, you don't need it to play, and you can enjoy it. And actually, you could unlock many skins just by playing. I have many legendary skins, and I got them just by playing. So it did not feel unfair. I would have to say. And I have also another example before we move on to the MMOs, which is Fallout 76, which is a game I'm currently playing from time to time. And in that game, I have a bit of mixed feelings about the monetization plan, because again, it's a game you have to pay. I got it on sale. Well, actually, a friend bought it to me on sale, I think. Bought it for me. But still, it's a game you have to pay for, right?
Yeah.
And then you still have microtransactions with kind of loot boxes and stuff like that. And they are all cosmetics, but here's the catch, right? Here's the things I'm a bit uncomfortable with. Is that you can have skins for your armor, for your power armor, for your weapons and stuff, and I don't mind those, right? You can You could pay to get those or to get emotes. Why? I don't mind. But the thing that drives me a bit nuts is in that game, you have your base, right? You can build a base, and actually, it's quite of a
Yeah,
I
it
won't say
is.
it's a core mechanic, but it's really important in the game. I
It's a
mean,
big. Yeah.
especially if you're level max, you cannot not having a base because you need storage, so you need a huge coffer
Yeah.
to put your stuff, and you need workshops to build and improve your weapons, right? And actually build ammunition because it depletes very fast. So you do need a base, and yeah, I mean you could have like four walls, a few workshops, and just a coffer, and that would be it. But that's really ugly, and that game is. I mean, it's a Fallout game. Even if it's an online game, it's a Fallout game, and I feel like the immersion is really important in that game. So
Yeah.
being around four walls, just wooden planks, uh, it's lame. Nobody wants that. And then of course you can get recipes for other stuff just by playing. But my experience with that is that you get so little recipes for building just by playing. I
Yeah.
have most of them I have bought by with in-game money, which you can do as well. You can buy them on shops or even to other players' shops. But still, I have spent most of the caps is the currency of the game. Most of the caps I spent are on things for the base, and still I feel like I've got nothing. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
every time I want to build like I don't know, a new room in my and decorate it in my house and decorate it, I find I've got almost nothing to decorate it with that fits, and it kind of drives me nuts because I feel very drawn towards like paying with real money to get those things. But then I remember, well, this game was a paid game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Of
mean,
course. Yeah. And
so
at that point, it's kind of it is technically cosmetics, but
yeah,
it is in a game and in a setting where cosmetics have more importance than just a skin to your weapon kind of thing.
I mean, but even the weapon, let's say like the weapon, I don't mind because the actual skin of the weapon, the regular one, it fits with the world, right?
Yeah.
So having just the regular skin is not a problem. I would not even consider buying another skin because I think the current skins for the weapons and everything are okay. But the problem is that the base, like the bare bones base, you can build without grinding and
Yeah.
without paying. It's really immersion breaking.
Yeah.
It does not fit at all with the environment. So I mean, one way to fix that would be instead of like giving everything for free, would be to just have as a base enough recipes to make a nice base, right?
Yeah.
With a
Something
few
better from the
decorations and
start.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my point of view on that game. But I guess we can move on now if you've got nothing to say.
Yeah.
On
Sure.
this
Sure. Sure.
topic. So yeah, now the MMOs, which is
So yeah. So
something
then
else.
MMOs. Well, that's been a conversation for a long, long time of how MMOs should be monetized.
Yeah, because
And
the development cost is huge, right?
and that is like the main difference with other games is that there is like an initial development cost which is massive in games like Apex, although Apex or League of Legends and so on. Although development cost at the beginning might be quite big, it's nothing comparable to what MMOs have to develop. Right? It's
Well, I have to say
years.
that if you compare to something like Grand Theft Auto 5 or something like that, I mean, developer cost of single player games can be huge as well.
Can be huge
But
as well, but even then, I would say that an MMO because it's online, because it has other types of
yeah, the
things.
servers, it's more about the cost afterwards once the
And
game is
then,
already
yeah, that's the
built.
thing. Then additionally to the big development cost at initial, then you also have the fact that there is a big cost just to maintain the game, to maintain the servers, and also just to like a game. An MMO is never going to work if it's not maintained and improved, and it's not updated.
Yeah,
So then it's a type of game that requires an incredible amount of continuous development.
yeah.
which makes it a quite a different type of game in terms
Yeah,
of
and
monetization.
that's why they need a continuous income, and that's why we have the subscription model, right, which was the most popular one in the
Yeah,
past for MMOs. So what usually happened back then was you would buy the CD, so you would have already an upfront cost, and then you would have per month costs
yeah.
to be able to play the game, and it was quite expensive, right?
But yeah, exactly. I don't think it has changed that much since then.
I don't know. I remember World of Warcraft, like maybe buying the game would be 40 euros, and then you would have 20 for the next expansion or something like that,
Yeah,
and then you would have 12 euros per month.
which is the thing. I don't think it changed. It might be 13 now,
I have no clue.
but I think it hasn't changed that much. Even though like probably the cost of living has increased a lot more.
Yeah, but I think the team that still works on the game is much smaller than it was back then.
Yeah,
I've
probably.
heard that the many developers have moved to other things, and like they
Yeah,
have
yeah,
left a
yeah.
very small team to keep updating
Probably. I
the
mean,
game.
the game is slowing down.
Very
I'd
old.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, the thing is with the subscription model, I think there are two good things about it. First thing, obviously, is that it gives a continuous amount of money to the developers, which is actually predictable because you know
Which
how
is a
many
lot more
players you have,
predictable
and
for sure.
yeah,
Especially
a lot
then
more
if you
predictable.
offer like 1 year subscriptions and so on.
Yeah, and people will actually go for those.
I mean, as long as you can play, I would definitely go for those as well.
So yeah, it was a good thing. And then the other thing is because you have paid for a month, let's say,
Yeah.
then in a way you will kind of feel guilty with yourself if you do not utilize that money. So if you do not play,
Yeah, which is
so
like
it will,
the same argument I had
yeah,
with Game Passes, which is it encouraged people to play the game.
yeah. And that's a very good thing for MMOs because you need a community, and you need a community that lasts and create bonds with each other.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays World of Warcraft has moved a little bit away from that very community-based game,
Yeah.
but still, like, yeah, I mean, the guild, everything, people have to be connected like many times a week, if possible, every day. And the only way, like,
For
one
sure.
of the ways to encourage that is that okay, you have paid for the full month. If you want to have paid for nothing, don't play. But if
Yeah,
you want
exactly. If you're gonna
the
make
money
your money's
to be
worth, then
worth it, yeah, you have to.
you'll feel pushed toward playing more.
Yeah, so I think it's actually a good thing in terms of the impact on the game,
Yeah.
even though it's really expensive, and then people might not be very happy about it. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then nowadays we have a lot of MMOs that are completely free, right? Which is the opposite. And but that's
Yeah.
because you've got microtransactions. So now I guess they have moved to a model where maybe it's a bit less predictable, but with I mean, if you have a huge enough player base, you can do reliable statistics.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you sell a lot of cosmetics and pets and whatnot, you can end up making a profit and still having a team working on updating the game.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the like potentially an issue that could come up is also in some games nowadays they also have all of those together. With also like World of Warcraft also has added microtransactions apart
I didn't know
from
that.
yeah apart from so you're already paying monthly, but also now you have the possibility of even paying more for skins and so on,
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
that can be seen as like not a good practice. So it's not
Yeah.
only you're paying the game, but you're also paying monthly, and then still you have certain things that are locked from you, which is not necessarily that good. And other games that do that are, for example, Elder Scrolls Online, which is a bit different with Elder Scrolls Online because, well, different in the sense that they have everything. So the game is technically, you can buy the game and then you can play it without subscription, but then you have the possibility of paying for a subscription, which gives you some bonuses and gives you all the DLCs for free. And then you have
Yeah.
also additionally have like skins and so on with microtransactions. So it has like the whole like thing,
whole package.
whole package. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've seen there's a few MMOs that also did like EVE Online, and I think there was another that also did a strange system where you could actually buy the subscription with in-game currency.
Yeah. The other game I know that did that was Wildstar, which was an MMO that did not work so well.
Yeah, I haven't played EVE Online. I don't know much about the subject, but I know there was some controversy about it. I don't know how it is with the game you said.
I don't examine the game. I think didn't last long enough. I think there was definitely a controversy when the game announced that they were going to work that way. Because the other problem, the other problem that game had, or the other potential controversy, was that not only you could pay within the game money for your month, but you could also buy an in-game item that would give monthly, like a monthly subscription, and that item you could actually sell it in game, meaning that potentially you could pay real money in order to get in-game money by selling those items. And a lot of people were not necessarily happy about that, because it would now become a bit more of a potential pay-to-win situation, where you could pay to have a lot of money in-game. But yeah, I don't know. But the game in the end did not last enough, I think. And I don't remember, maybe they ended up removing it or something. I actually don't really know.
Yeah, same. I don't know if they removed it with EVE Online.
Yeah. I mean, EVE Online, it's free now, right?
I think it's, I don't know, maybe it's free now. It's a game that I'm not very interested in because of how it plays. Although I am interested in the stories that generate with a huge guild, but that's a whole other topic, so we're not gonna go into that.
Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, I wanted to say about Elder Scrolls Online. There's something that is a bit peculiar with Elder Scrolls Online, because I am a very big Elder Scrolls fans, and I think you are as well. And Elder Scrolls games are all about immersion, right? It's like this RPG setting, fantasy setting, in which the lore is very well constructed.
Yeah, a big world with a big lore,
and you really feel connected to that universe in a way. And something that I feel it's takes away from the game in the Elder Scrolls Online experience is that with all those cosmetics, you end up having many players with very flashy, over-the-top skins and pets and
pets, like fire pets and like weird,
that don't make
necessarily
sense
work in the
lore-wise or in the world. Yeah, they just look odd. For example, I would say that with the mounts, right? So in a game like Morrowind, you would have no mounts. In Oblivion and Skyrim, you have horses, but most of the horses you would see in the game are regular horses. You can do very weird quests to get a very rare horse, but it's like a one-of-a-kind thing.
Like a unicorn as well in Oblivion.
Yeah, in Oblivion. But the idea is that, right? It's like
even a rare creature.
Even a unicorn, which was like the huge thing, or maybe
it was super hard to tame as well. You had to like sneak up on him, and it was super hard, and it would just.
Or in Skyrim, you can get, I think, like kind of a horse with red eyes with the.
You can get like it's kind of undead horse.
Yeah,
but it's also like a special horse. It's super rare.
If you compare that to the flashy things they've got bears with. Like robotic bears,
they have
golden armor
and
stuff like that, and it just doesn't feel right in that setting. It just doesn't feel right. Like, okay, they say, well, it's a clockwork, there's a clockwork city, so it's a bear from the clockwork city. It's like, but the clockwork city in the lore is like a very hidden thing, and nobody knows about it apart from a few people, and they don't get out. And now you just go to any city in the world, and you've got many people with clockwork mounts and clockwork pets, and I mean to give the example of the clockwork thing, but there's other stuff like that. It just doesn't feel right in the setting. So I would say that.
So I see what you mean, and you would be kind of against it.
Yeah, I'm against it because it hinders the experience, in my opinion.
For me, I'd be definitely against it in like a single player or like in a more in a different type of game. But in terms of in Elder Scrolls Online itself, because it's an MMO, because of how it works, I'm kind of okay with it. I understand. I definitely feel maybe that if they would have done it differently, maybe it would be better. But I also see why, if they do want to sell skins, it would be difficult to do it differently.
Yeah. So yeah, because what I would like to see, it's them to tune it a bit down, in the sense that, let's say you've got horses, right? And of course you want to sell skins for horses. Then, I mean, you already have the natural colors of the horses that can change, right? And maybe have a fully black or fully white horse could be already pretty rare, and you have to buy it. Let's say. Then you could have the saddles and the stuff.
Exactly, like that's what I was gonna say. The way that it works in Red Dead Redemption Online is the fact that, well, first of all, the way that it works in Elder Scrolls in Red Dead Redemption Online is you can't really buy cosmetics. So there is like a special currency that you can buy. You can pay to get it, but you also get it while playing. So it's one of those things where it's kind of like, you can get cosmetics, but then you can also get them without paying, which is not really the case in those type of MMOs. And in that game,
I think in Elder Scrolls Online you get chests for free as well.
You do? I actually don't know.
I'm not sure, but maybe not.
The way, at least in terms of the horses, the way they works is just that. Well, you'll probably at some point you will end up getting the best horse. It's not that hard if you play enough. And the thing is that you would get in order to like improve the look of your horse is just purely the saddle, basically.
Yeah.
So then you do get
good enough, right?
Yeah. So on one side you have like when you choose the horse, when there is like a little bit of a color choice that you have, you might get it like between a black horse and a white horse, but there's not that much choice in colors. The big change is the saddle, which you can also then, not only different saddles and better saddles have better flourish to them, but then you can also customize the colors and so on. And that's usually either with in-game money or with that special currency, which you don't necessarily get, which you get enough. Usually those things are pretty cheap.
Okay.
And then that game has a battle pass as well. But I guess that would be going outside of the topic a little bit to talk too much about that game.
Okay, but I see the point, right? I mean, it's kind of like the point I was trying to make, is that they could tune it down.
You can still have like more things.
Yeah, with different saddles, stuff like that. Still, with people will notice, probably with like bright colors being more expensive, and stuff like that. But without going completely overboard with a clockwork robot.
The problem with that is the perspective, right? Like the fact that because you're playing the game for a lot further away from the character, those kind of details would be harder to perceive,
to pick up. I see it. But well, I mean, in my opinion, it's a bit sad, but I guess maybe it was the right choice. I mean, there's people thinking about all those things in the company, so we have to give it a little bit, give them a little bit of credit.
Just a little bit.
Well, a little bit, not too much. But okay. And then you were telling me that because we're in the topic of the MMOs, you are a huge fan of Star Citizen, right?
Yes.
And we were discussing this, and you said that for you, having cosmetics, even very very like non-flashy ones in that game would be
game breaking in my opinion. So that's kind of what, like, for me in Elder Scrolls Online it would be fine, but it's true that in a game like Star Citizen it would be game breaking for many reasons. I mean, first of all, that game is purely going for realism. Well, realism to some extent, and a lot of simulation. And in that game, one of the things that they keep saying, and one of the things that a lot of people aim for and want to, is that whatever you see in a character or in a ship or something, it has to reflect its value. And so if you see a guy with a gun that is a green gun for whatever reason, if you kill that guy or if you trade it with him, the gun you should get is a green gun, right? So having and skins would potentially increase the value of an item, because you talked briefly the other time by having potentially like a golden skin for a gun, right? And in reality, like a normal gun, like a normal AK, for example, versus like a golden AK, even if it's just a paint job, it will cost more because it is like a kind of special gun. And in Star Citizen, they're really going for that type of immersion and realism and simulation, where those kind of things could not be simply looked. You can't just look past it, right? And another example I gave you the other day is that if you see, for example, a ship, right? And if you imagine you're a pirate, and if you see a ship that it has a golden skin, you would directly think, okay, this guy has money, right? That's what you would think in real life. You see a guy with like bling, like a necklace, or like a super expensive watch, you think, oh, this guy has money, so I'm gonna mug him, right? And you would want it to work the exact same way in Star Citizen, which is why I really think that skins should not be paid for microtransactions. So they should be purely, obviously there is going to be customization of ships and so on, but it has to be made with in-game money, which in that case would reflect wealth, right? So someone who has like an actual very special skin means that he has paid it with in-game money, meaning that that character, that player has a lot of money in-game. And in that case,
you can get it.
Exactly, and in that case, it would make sense to mug him in that scenario, I guess. And exactly, if you do like you said, if you do steal the weapon, if you do steal the ship, then that ship will cost more because it has an extra layer of customization on top, which the guy had to pay for, which you usually would have to pay for it.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, I'm not as huge a Star Citizen fan as you. I mean, I look it from afar. You are into it, but what you say makes sense. I still think that it could be workable, because then the question is, how once the game is released, right? Because still, I mean, it's gonna be a long time from now. But let's say the game is released, and like huge players spike, like everybody starts buying the game. A lot of hype and everything, and then like the hype starts to go down a little bit, but the game, it's an MMO, right? It's the life should be many years. It's not gonna just disappear after a year, right? And there's, as we told for MMOs, there's a huge ongoing cost because of the servers, because of the updates. Especially in this game, you told me that they want the world to be developing while the time passes in the real life.
Exactly. So the way they want to do it is that the time passes in the game, so then like story in game progresses, and then it has like changes in the actual world and so on.
Yeah. So then, problem is they have to move. I mean, one of the only solutions that is left is they have to move to a subscription base, right?
Yeah.
Because they cannot just, if they cannot have cosmetics, they obviously cannot have pay to progress or pay to win, because that as well would be pretty game breaking, I think.
Yeah.
Then the only option is that, right?
Well, and that's the thing. I don't really have. I don't know what their idea is in long term.
Okay.
I do. So, for now, of course, the way that it works for now is that they are selling the ships, right? So you're paying money to sell the ships, to buy the ships, and that's what they're is financing the game. But of course, right now the game could definitely be considered, and I could personally consider it as well, pay to win in that sense, because obviously a bigger ship, a better ship, is just better. It's not based on skill. It's not necessarily like a bigger. If you have a better shield, then you'll take less damage. That's just how it is.
Yeah. Can you also buy attachments with real money, or is it just?
I don't think you can. No. You can do it in game, and you are able to buy ships in game now as well.
Okay.
But I don't think you can get better attachments. But yeah, so the issue that I would have with it, which is also like a doubt that I would still have with it, which I don't exactly know what their plan is long term, because of what you've been saying. Because of course they still need money. I mean, money needs to come in somehow. But if they keep selling ships, for me would also to some extent ruin the game, because it would become too pay to win, and then it would just not work as well. But then, so for me, because of the game and because of the quality of the game, I think the quality that they're aiming for, it's so big and the game is going to be so massive, I would definitely be totally okay with a subscription based. And it is like a fear that I have of, are they going to try to add any extra way of getting revenue, right? Are they going to keep selling ships, or are they going to start selling cosmetics, which for me would be game breaking? I honestly, and that's the problem, I honestly don't know. I don't know what their idea is with those things.
Okay.
So we'll have to see.
But yeah, then your stance is subscription.
For this game, I would definitely say that subscription would be the best solution, because it'd be a game that is so massive and so crazy that you definitely understand why you would have to do so. And any other way of monetization would just be too game breaking. Therefore, that's basically the only way that they could do it, in my opinion, that would work well.
Okay.
But we'll have to see. I actually don't know exactly what their idea is.
Maybe they don't even know yet. They probably
potentially. Potentially.
I mean, there's still many
still
years
far away. Yeah.
So they may be still discussing it and weighing the different different possibilities. But and then let's move on to the last topic, I think. So it's the mobiles, right? Which is, as we said, something quite different.
So I guess let's start by let's start by saying, why is it so different in mobile games, right?
Yeah,
and I think there's multiple reasons. One of the reasons is that for most markets, like Android and iOS, you actually have to pay in order to put the game on. Right. And it's a subscription, right?
Yeah, but to be fair, you have to pay a lot for Steam as well.
But for Steam, you have to pay for the game that you put on for a game, and then it's like a one-time payment. While for mobile, you have a subscription based, right? I'm not exactly
It depends, because apparently for Play Store, it's a one-time payment, and it's not very expensive.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but the thing is,
game just crashed. Anyways,
the thing is, it's more about, it's a lot about ads, right? Something that you don't see in other things. In other platforms, there's not so many ads, because ads are experience breaking, like, for sure. But
to some extent, not all of them, and I guess we'll get into that.
Well, okay, I think maybe we disagree on this. You will have to prove me wrong with an example, because I think, like, you're playing any game and then you see an ad about, I don't know, like an application to an app to, like, I don't know, cognitive test or something, like cognitive.
Just any.
It's like any ad, or for a banking, or for like a cryptocurrency investment thing. I mean, it's completely immersion breaking. I don't know how you could say the opposite, but
I mean, it is fair. I see how it is immersion breaking, but I feel like it depends on at what point the ad appears, and mostly that I just feel it depends on when the ad appears, basically.
Yeah.
For me, if I guess for an example, there's a game that we played, both of us, which is like a card game, very similar to Slay the Spire.
Yep.
And in that game, you have basically the only ads that you have is when you finish a game, when you finish like a run, you have the option to watch an ad, and if you do so, you gain double XP, and XP just basically allows you to what is it? It allows you to unlock more cards.
Yeah, I know you can improve cards. There's two things, right? You can improve your cards. Some cards can be improved.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that once you reach level 20 or something like that, which I haven't reached, you get a new
hero.
Deck.
Yeah,
completely new deck.
So in that game, for me, watching an ad, first of all, is completely optional. And second, because you do it not inside of a game, like it's not immersion breaking.
Yeah, you're not playing at that point.
Yeah, for me, it just doesn't matter.
I mean, I would disagree with that because for me, even when you're in the menus, you still have some kind of immersion. That's why normally the menus have some kind of artwork and music that are kind of related to the game, right?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, it is part of the experience still. So having an ad there that has a completely different music, completely different tone, and has nothing to do with what you're playing,
yeah,
it's immersion break. But of course, it's less important. It's less of an impact if it's on the menu. So after you finish the game, than during the play. But yeah, I mean there are many practices in mobile games that we only see there, and that are interesting. Yeah. The one I think I like is the one you told me, like the one after a game or something you can watch an ad to WXP.
Yeah.
There are others where you can get there's a kind of a premium currency, and you can get those also by watching an ad whenever you feel like it. Like you go to the menu, like watch ad.
Yeah.
And you can only do it maybe once every 3 minutes, so I don't know. Like.
Yeah, I remember I also played a game, a very small game, where there was no ads in the game. The only thing I see if you went to the credits, there was a button, support the developer, and then it would just play an ad.
Yeah.
And that was, I felt like it was like a kind of interesting way of doing it.
Yeah, and it's very honest because you know it's like...
You know exactly what you're doing it for.
Yeah.
And it's purely optional. It doesn't break the game at all.
And you didn't get anything from it? Like zero?
No, you got nothing. It was purely to support the developer, yeah.
I mean, I don't mind if you get things from it, right? If you get...
Yeah. But then...
premium currency from it, if you get...
At that point, it's also sometimes kind of seen potentially as like... Well, it's not pay because you're just watching an ad, but it is... you are locking progression or at least slowing down progression.
Yeah.
And you add like ads. But yeah, like the other main point with the differences in mobile that I wanted to say that I didn't end up saying is that there is like a big culture of free games on mobile. Like it's honestly very rare that someone would pay for a game on mobile. Therefore,
I paid for Reigns, I think.
Yeah, but it is very rare.
It's rare. Yeah.
So then developers are almost forced to make their game free, and they have to make money somehow.
Somehow, yeah, because development costs. I mean, even very, very small games, they take much longer to make and much more effort to make than you may think.
Yeah.
And then, as you said, there's the fee you have to pay to actually publish it. I think on Android it's pretty cheap, but if you go to iOS, I think it's
higher,
$100. So it's $100 a year. So it's pretty expensive, right? I mean, if you are, let's say you are just doing this on your free time, you've done your small game, you've spent many hours, like let's say 50 hours, which is not that many hours, right?
Yeah.
50 hours would be a very, very small game. So you've done 50 hours, you've gone a very, very small game, and you want to publish it on Android and iOS. So you end up paying like more than $100. Obviously, you want to at least get back some of that money, right?
Yeah.
You do not want to throw the money out of the window so that your game is published. You want to get a little bit back, right? So
yeah,
it's logical that you would do this, but there are ways to do it that are a little bit better than others. One that I particularly despise is the one that limits the time you can play.
Yeah.
So I think we've all seen of those type of games. They usually have
like
a bar,
energy or something. Yeah.
Yeah, energy.
And that refills super slowly, and then you can pay to have it
refill.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that's pretty.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I don't like it because if you are enjoying the game, the last thing you want is like some kind of menu pop-up window saying, "Oh, you run out of energy, you cannot play anymore."
Yeah, for me, like I like to some extent rule that I have when I think about like mobile games and potentially like making mobile games is that mobile games are usually made in order to be playable in like small sessions.
Yeah.
And usually my rule is that a game you should be able to progress in very small amount of time, to feel that you've progressed in a very small amount of time, but at the same time you should never be limited to a certain amount of time, in the sense that you should always be able to play as much as you want. And that system always like limits the amount of time that you can play, which is for me very dumb, because the people, even if they enjoy the game, they're not going to be able to play it, and they end up being frustrated just because they can't play it, basically, even though they want to.
And I'm curious to see the stats of how many people uninstall the game after having that kind of pop-up window appear. Because I mean, at least I did for some.
I did for some games.
I was playing.
Well,
And
not all of them,
maybe
for sure.
Maybe the first few times I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for tomorrow. But then, like, let's say after 3 days of playing the game, I get that and I'm just pissed and I'm like, come on, like, I just wanna. I'm in the metro. I have nothing to do. I want to enjoy myself a little bit. Why should I switch game? Or, like it's a bit weird. Like I have a game to play and I have to pay for like unlocking time, or what's the matter with that? That one I don't like for sure. I mean, and ads popping in the middle of out of the blue, which sometimes happens as well.
Some games
it's also pretty bad for immersion breaking. But yeah, I think, how would you do it? Let's say, because I mean, we are developers, both of us, right?
So
we're currently looking for a job, but it is possible that we will develop a solo game, and probably if we make a solo game, it's going to be a very, very small game. And who says small game says, well, either you put it on some kind of browser website, browser-based website for free, or you would put it on mobile, because there's no way we're gonna put it on Steam, or
if it's like a very small game, for sure.
Or on a console. So how would you do it?
The way I would do it, I think, is because I've thought about this, and I usually am okay with games that have like to some extent premium currency, as long as you can earn it in game as well.
Okay.
Like, sure, it's gonna be
very grindy.
Sure, sometimes it's gonna be quite slow. The way I would do it is I would not necessarily do it super slow. Well, I mean, there's two ways. One of them, two ways what I could do it. One, which is simply I would put some ads in the game. I would try to put them in the less destructive place possible. Potentially look at the end of the game or something. Potentially having those kind of things where it's like, yeah, sure, you gain double XP if you watch the ad or whatever at the end of the run. And in those cases, I would potentially also have for you the ability to buy the game for like a little sum of like $3 hours, €2 or something, and that would remove the ads and give you the bonus, the extra bonus, like permanently, basically. So then it's kind of like you buy the game, that's it, you got the whole thing, nothing is locked. And the other way I would potentially do it is not have ads, or like not have like those kind of forced ad, have like a premium currency that you can buy, or that you can potentially watch ads to get. But the way I would do it, compared to a lot of other games, because that's something that I'm quite frustrated most of the time, is that if you actually do end up paying, you would get like a very big amount of that currency.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that annoys me a lot of the time is that, sure, let's say I'm going to pay €3 to get that currency. You end up getting like an amount of that currency that doesn't even allow you to do that much. So it's like, sure, like now I paid €3 and that only allows me to buy one pack of cards, for example, if we're talking card game. And it's like, that actually doesn't get me anywhere. So it's like, the way I would do it is at least so that if you actually do pay, you are actually rewarded very handsomely.
Yeah, so your idea is that you want your players, if they pay, to just pay once, and you would say, okay, that's enough, kid, you paid me, I'm happy with you.
To some extent, yeah. To some extent, I would gotta see it that way, as in like, that's it. You've paid. You that's it. You get the whole thing.
You deserve it. Yeah. But well, because I think the mentality that goes into what is seen nowadays, which is usually you have, let's say, one first pay option, which is like maybe less than $1. Then the next one is like a bit more than $1. Then you have $3, and then you have something like, which is crazy, like $20 or even more, right?
Even more. I've seen like hundreds, which is.
And I think there's a lot of thought put into those prices. It's not random,
Yeah.
and I believe that the way they do the reason they do this is, first of all, so I have never seen those statistics, and I'm talking out of my ass, but it's like the general feeling I have. I have that feeling that somebody that pays for a game, let's say a freemium game, a free to play game with like double XP or things like that, is much more inclined to pay again than
Yeah.
somebody that never pays. So,
I mean,
what
it
that
is
means,
a known fact that games like that tend to have kind of high cost, like high, yeah, like that. Those currencies or those packs cost quite high because they only aim for having a very small portion of the player base actually finance
yeah,
the whole thing.
yeah, the whales. But I mean, I would say like the whales would be the ones that would buy the 100 thing, right? The $100 package.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like the guy that would pay for the less than a euro thing, right?
Yeah.
That guy, if you make it too much worth it, he would just pay that, and then uh, he would pay once that very small fee, and then he would just go on and play for months, just enjoying the benefits of that, right?
Yeah.
But because you know that that client, that player, potentially would be willing to pay more, then what you do is that you limit the benefits he gets so that he gets the need very soon to pay more.
Yeah. And I feel like,
And
yeah, I do feel like a lot of games do kind of go towards that.
I think that's kind of the design behind it, the idea, and maybe yeah. And here's where morals come in. Is it good? Is it bad? Like, is it, because yeah, for a developer to just add 1,000 coins, like it's nothing. It's just a number, right? You just
Yeah,
put
yeah,
it
it
on
doesn't.
your
Yeah,
code,
it's,
and
yeah.
that's it. The player will get it when he purchases the thing.
Yeah.
So for us, it's not a difference at all. It's not a difference in terms of amount of work we have to put in.
Yeah.
But then what should we do, right? Should we be the most like
Well,
nice people and give everything, or should we try to maximize our profits, right?
but
And
that,
I
yeah,
think
I mean, I think the big difference as well is that for us, like you asked me what I would do in my
yeah,
case, I would probably not go.
to
The
maximize
idea
profits.
for that game, or like the publishing or the making money for that game, would not be to actually live out of it. It would just simply be to some extent cover the development cost and maybe make a little bit, to pay some beers
Yeah,
or
like
whatever.
pocket money. Yeah,
It would not be my objective with it would not be to actually make money out
make
of
a
it.
living.
But the problem
Yeah.
is that other companies that is their objective, of
Yeah.
course. They
And-
they need, I guess, to some extent the money because that's their business, right?
Yeah, and most games that are made for mobile, although they seem pretty simple and easy to make, most of them are done by companies.
Yeah.
Do not fool yourself. Like they are done by companies. Like there are very few ones that have been done by
mean,
indie developers.
There is like a lot of companies which the whole process of making games is just making a lot of games.
Yeah.
And then as long as
Very-
one works, it finances all of the others.
Yeah, and sometimes like very even copy paste games will just like change the graphics a little bit and
Yeah.
change the setting, and that's it.
Because
Like, yeah,
the mobile market is very saturated, so it's very hard to pierce. And therefore a lot of companies just aim for just flooding the market and just by pure chance managing to pierce with one game.
yeah. So that's the reason, and those companies they have a lot of costs with employees and stuff. So obviously and they are in there for the profit, right? So obviously
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
gonna go for the most profitable course of action, which is gonna be what we said, right? Like very different packages that go up to very expensive prices, and with the small packages you get only a few things so that you don't you don't just quench the desire of that guy to buy
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think if I would do a game, like first of all, if I ever do a game in my free time, I would, depending on how much time it took me to make it, I would put a price or not on it.
Yeah.
I'm talking like itch.io or some like browsers and stuff, or
Mhm.
just to be, yeah, itch.io to be downloaded or on browser. I would probably make it for free if it's something that I just did in a few afternoons. Um, let's say 50 hours or maybe less than 100. I mean, just those numbers are again just orientative, but it's just also for you to have an idea, right? Because you may think, yeah, you make this game in 2 hours, but even the very simple games you don't make in two
They
hours.
always take a lot more than what people
And if
think.
yeah, if you want to get an idea of what people can make in what amount of time, you could check out Game Jam submissions.
Yeah.
And
And then you'll realize that it
yeah,
takes
and
a longer
sometimes
time.
let's say it's like 48-hour games were made in 48 hours. Of course, some hours were spent sleeping and eating, but still, like when you are in a game jam, you are hyper productive, which is not something you do when you come from work and you are tired and you just work a little bit on your free
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
You're not gonna be as productive as being on a game jam. So in the end, I think like if you want to make a game that's well rounded and a bit polished, uh,
It
even if
takes a
it's very
while.
simple, it's gonna take at least 50 hours if
Yeah.
you are alone, I think. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would say up to 100 hours it would be completely free. And if the game works very well, I would put it then just on Android or something like that, just so that more people get to play it. And
Yeah.
then I would put as something like what you said, right? I would do like ads, like free game with some ads. Maybe not even any currency. I would probably just go for ads and say, well, if I get some back from the
Yeah.
cost I had to publish it, that's it. And if I don't make much, well, it doesn't matter.
I
But
mean,
then, yeah,
yeah.
if I would make a game alone or even with a small team, right, on my free time, and I would spend many hours on it, like more than 100, like let's say 200 hours or even more. I think at that point I would start thinking about pricing because in the end, like it's your time and it should be worth it, right? Because if it's not worth it, then
Yeah.
you're just gonna never do it again. You're just gonna say, well, all this work for nothing. Well,
Yeah. And that's the other thing we wanted to say as well is that because of the cost of actually putting games in, uh, it would be very rare that we would just put a game in just one game in, as in that we would only pay the whole thing just in order to put one game. We would probably accumulate a few games and then just pay and put all of them together.
yeah, for mobile, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's what we would do probably, yeah. But still, like it really depends on how much work you've made, how much effort. It's a personal thing in the end, but some people are willing to put in many hours and
Yeah.
for nothing. But I feel like every work needs like some kind of compensation.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
at least like not something like a huge deal, but as you said, like if you can just get like I don't know like 50 euros back, let's say,
Mhm.
you make a 50 euro profit, which is already I would consider it pretty good for just a solo game that would put on Android or something. And then you say to your friends, hey, I'll buy the round, right?
Yeah.
I'll pay for this round. And then you have a great time and everything's happy and then you will have fun memories of it. Probably you're gonna be more inclined to try to make another game, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
But well. So I don't know if there's anything else to say. I mean, I think we've done at least I've said everything.
Yeah, we've covered a good amount. But yeah, overall, I mean, it is very different depending on the type of game,
Yeah.
and well, it is complicated to know what's the best way of doing certain things and so on.
Yeah, it depends on everyone. Depends on each person,
Yeah,
like everything.
for sure.
So yeah, how's the game going? Have you
It's
reached the
going.
end?
It's going. I mean, it's just a slow game. I
Have
just
you reached
unlocked.
the unmade content?
No. I've reached farming now. The game did crash.
Yeah, me too.
Like I think like a friend contacted me through Steam, and somehow that crashed the game.
Okay.
Yeah, again, the game is not finished at all. So, but yeah, I mean, I like the aesthetic of it. It's very, very nice. It's very chill. It's quite slow, but yeah. But anyways, what about you?
Well, I mean, I'm building my small island. I haven't lost the game. It crashed at the beginning once, but that wasn't the fault of the game. It was, I mean, in my computer, if I don't put the ventilator,
Oh yeah, yeah.
the fan working like a
100%.
like an airplane turbine, then it would
It's
crash
crashing,
eventually if I do anything a little bit intensive.
Mm.
And this game, trust me, it's not
It's not
intensive.
intensive. Yeah, it's
But
definitely
still,
not intensive.
still it crashed. So you can see the state of my laptop right now. The other day we were talking with a friend, and yeah, probably have to open it and just dust it a little bit and clean the insides. Maybe change the thermal gel.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean it's a very chill game. The island is looking beautiful,
Very nice.
so I'm happy about it. That's about it.
That's always nice. So yeah, well, I guess that's it then.
Yep.
So well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye bye.